Hello embedded system lovers, these are the 16 essential circuits you will find in almost any embedded system product you can think of. And if you master these 16 circuits, there is almost no embedded system product you cannot design. Now check them out. The first block is the power section. This is where input voltage is converted, regulated, and distributed to the rest of the system. Power supply design is one of the first things to get right in embedded system, and this video shows that real designs must consider regulation, efficiency, repo, isolation, and safety. Then a linear regulator is simple and low noise, but it trades efficiency for simplicity, and this video highlights output voltage, repo, and thermal dissipation as important limits. 3-terminal regulators like the 7805 are classic practical power blocks, but they still need proper input and output capacitors for stability and transient response. Also, 3-terminal regulators like the LM317 are classic practical power blocks, but they still need proper input and output capacitors for stability and transient response. Then when efficiency matters, switching regulators become the preferred choice. And this lecture from MIT introduces buck, boost, and flyback converters as standard DC to DC solutions. In a buck converter, the inductor stores and releases energy while the switch rapidly controls the average output voltage. And this is the core idea behind efficient step-down regulation. A boost converter uses the same energy storage principle to raise the output above the input voltage. And this is why it is useful in battery-powered systems. Then a flyback converter is especially useful when isolation is required, and this MIT lecture displayed on this video emphasizes that primary and secondary isolation is essential in offline switching supplies. Real power designs also need protection and filtering, and MIT's lecture on power supply design shows EMI filters, MOV surge protection, opto isolators, fast diodes, and low ESRO capacitors as part of a robust supply design. The MIT's lecture also includes a practical regulator example showing how these power conversion ideas appear in real charger circuits and embedded hardware, and I'm going to be including the link to this article in the video description below, so go check it out in the video description and you can access the PDF file of this MIT lecture on power supply designs. Now, right next to the power section is a decoupling and filtering network. This circuit contains capacitors and filters that reduce noise, stabilize supply rails, and protect sensitive chips from sudden current changes in the products that you're working on. Most embedded products also include reset and watchdog circuitry. Now, this helps the system to start reliably and recover automatically if software ever locks up. Another essential block is the clock circuit. Here, crystal oscillators, resonance, or internal oscillators provide the timing that keeps digital logic and communication running correctly. Then we also have the pull-up and pull-down resistors, which are small parts, but they are extremely important because they define the known logic states for reset lines, enable pins, and open drain signals. Now, many embedded products use MOSFET switching stages to turn loads on and off, and this can be used for power gating, LED control, motor driving, or switching higher current devices. Now, every real product also needs protection circuits. Reverse polarity protection and input protection help prevent damage when power is connected the wrong way or when the supply is unstable. Now, on connector facing line, ESD and transient protection are very important. These parts help absorb static discharge and reduce the chance of damage to the electronics product. Then for communication, UART, which is Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, is one of the most common interfaces. It is simple, widely supported, and often used for debugging, configuration, and serial models. Then we have the Serial Peripheral Interface, SPI, which is another major interface. It is faster than UART and it's often used for flash memory, displays, ADCs, and other peripherals. Next, we have the I2C interface. The I2C interface is a two-wire bus that is used for many low-speed devices like sensors, EEPROMs, and real-time clocks. It is efficient because multiple devices can share the same bus. Now, when a sensor reads the real world, it often needs a sensor front end, and that may include biasing, filtering, and amplification before the signal reaches the microcontroller. The analog to digital conversion part is another core block. Good ADC performance depends on clean references, proper input filtering, and careful signal routing. Now, some embedded systems also need a DAC output circuitry. Now, this lets the system generate analog voltages for control, audio, or reference applications. Here, comparators are used when the system only needs to know whether a signal is above or below a threshold, and you will find them in voltage monitors, zero crossing detection, and protection circuits. Now, in most portable embedded products, battery charging and battery management are very essential. These circuits handle charging, protection, and sometimes fuel gauging or cell balancing. So rather than memorizing a fixed list, the better way to understand embedded hardware is to recognize the recurring blocks that appear in real products, which are power, protection, reset, timing, interfaces, analog conditioning, and battery management that form the backbone of most embedded designs. If you have any question about what we've discussed so far, please leave your question in the comment section below. And if you have any project suggestions about the kind of project you want to see on this channel, please leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video, and bye.